and welcome back to the Wolves World YouTube channel. Got a special episode for you today featuring none other than Tom Rouse from Rouse Every Weekend and Absolute Scenes podcast. Before I get into that video, I'm just going to say I will be making a very short Liverpool specific match preview which I will upload on Saturday, so keep your eyes open for that. There's also an Adama Traore special feature upcoming too. But anyway, here's the video with myself and Tom. We discuss lots of topics. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Hi everyone, and it's Dan from Wolves World. Welcome to the show today. Tom from Rouse Every Weekend. I'll just let him introduce himself.
Yeah, hello. Hopefully you'll recognise me, or if you don't, I'm Tom Rouse, formerly the Old Gold and Black, doing lots of former Wolves content, but now trying to branch out and do a little bit of music or a little bit of sketches and comedy and a little bit of stuff like that is coming up in the next couple of weeks. But I've also got a podcast that, if you're interested, it's called Absolute Scenes, that I do with a friend of mine every week, which I really enjoy doing, and hopefully you'll go and check that out as well.
Excellent. So yeah, please go on to Tom's stuff afterwards. But of course, we are on this channel to talk about Wolves, and obviously would like to start with the news of Jimenez. We've had some information come in that he's looking like he's going to make, we hope, in a full recovery, not as a footballer, just as a human. And I don't know if you want to add anything in on that, Tom, but obviously a sad moment for us all.
Well, yeah, and obviously as soon as it happened, it was very, very concerning, and like more so than any other injury, just because it was so silent in the ground when the ball came in for that corner. You could really hear the crunch immediately. And then, I don't know what it was like for you, but I was searching around the other players and trying to work out exactly who it was, because at first I thought it might have been Dendoncker or Cody, because obviously defenders was your first thought. But then the more you think about it, the more you try and work out who's come back to have a look. And then you think, oh, actually, Jimenez defends the near post, doesn't he, at corners? Oh, God. And then, you know, as one of our key players and prized asset, I mean, we've spoken on various podcasts and various videos over the last 3 years. What would we do if Jimenez was injured? He's our number one striker. We haven't got anybody who can just walk into his shoes at the minute. And it is a real concern for the rest of the season now. We've had a really good start. And Jimenez has scored, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but he's contributed a number of goals already. Take his goals out of last season, we're relegation candidates. He's a real key part of this team, and it's going to be a lot to fill that gap. But somebody's going to have to step up, or other players are going to have to start chipping in with goals, and hopefully we can sort of manage this injury. But as you said, before anything like that, your thoughts go out to his girlfriend, young baby, only born in August or July, only a couple of months old. And then you think back to other injuries of similar injuries. Petr Cech managed to carry on playing for a long time. Ryan Mason, though, didn't. So you just got to wait and see what happens. It's very good news that he's okay, and that he's been conscious, and that he's passed the message on to his girlfriend and stuff. That's brilliant. And it would seem as if there is damage, it's been managed so far. I mean, I'm not a head trauma expert at all, but it seems positive so far.
I agree. I think obviously when it happened at the time, the noise was the main thing I heard. And then after that, I did do the same as you. And I thought, well, who could this possibly be? I was trying to count the numbers, see the players, but while thinking, who's this on the ground? How bad are they? It was obviously the ultimate disappointment that it was Jimenez, as sad as it would have been being anybody. I think that's a position that Wolves now are left a bit short in, which moves me on to one of the things I was going to ask you. I've got some thoughts myself on what Nuno might or should be doing moving forward, probably in January. I didn't know if you'd had a chance at this point to get past the fact that, yes, he's hurt, and obviously we hope he's recovered, but Wolves still are a football team who are going to be playing, and we'll need to have strikers and someone to fill that void. How are you, or have you had any thoughts about who might go there or how he might fill that gap?
Well, I think in the short term, it's going to be Fabio Silva, inevitably. And I think it's really harsh for him to have been taken off, having been brought on in the game. Although he probably I don't know what he played 70 minutes, something like that.
Yeah,
Which
75.
considering he'd only played 50 minutes for Wolves prior to that, I think that, and he's only 18. That was quite good. But he didn't look like a 35 million pound player. But again, he's only 18. He's very inexperienced, and I would hope that he does progress. He did make a couple of really good turns and really good touches at points, but he's not going to be consistent. He's not going to be somebody we can pin our hopes on for the rest of the season. So I haven't thought of signing anybody, to be honest, to replace Jimenez. The only player that I look at in the Premier League and think, God, if we only had him, we'd be winning the league, would be Jamie Vardy. And
I'm very interested to hear that answer. Right, okay.
I've been saying it for years, but I mean, there's no way of prizing him away from Leicester now. But he's so quick, and he's going to score when he's through on goal. He doesn't mess about. He scores. So I mean, I don't know anybody who's like Jamie Vardy, but from the players that we've got, I think we've got enough options and enough quality in that front three to have somebody who could play in that central role. I don't think it'd be Traore. I don't think it would be Podence either. So personally, I'd be leaning towards Neto at the minute. I think he's shown himself to be a real bit of a poacher so far. He's a powerful runner. He's skillful. He's young, but he's really, really talented. So I'd be, of the players we've got, I'd be leaning towards Neto.
I think, from my perspective, yes, Silva, I would like to see, given the opportunity now till certainly January. I think he did show some good stuff. I thought he showed some clever movement this week when he played those extra minutes that he wasn't expecting. Beyond that, for me, I have a little cheeky thought, and I would like to see this maybe come in fruition, and I thought this previously as well. I reckon Giroud could be available for loan. It sounds like he's looking to get out. If he's not the starter, he's not interested, even at his 34, I think he is now. And I think he's got that chance for, because I can't see him as realistically being planning to be in before the end of the season. He could literally play every game for Wolves if he's fit and ready, Giroud, and I think it would be a good fit. Loses a bit of the pace of Jimenez, but arguably is better at holding the ball up, and we can see he scores goals. So I think that would be an interesting loan move if Nuno thinks about that, because it shouldn't price us out or anything else for that period of time we'd need him for.
I think we've been linked with Giroud in the past as well. I can't remember when it was, but at least a couple of times over the last year or so. Higuain as well is another player who I think was probably a swap with Jimenez, but
that didn't happen.
Players of that kind of caliber and that kind of stature, I think, are players that would be needed to replace somebody like Raul.
But I think Silva will do a job short term. My other thought, and this maybe links to possibly what we'll discuss about the Liverpool game, is a little cheeky formation tweak that similar to what we saw in the famous Man City wins even last season. Possibly playing Traore and maybe Neto through more centrally, with whether it's a 4 or a 5 behind them. I think having those two there where you're not holding the ball up, but just give them it and say, have a go. And I think that could be just as rewarding, especially if Wolves were to revert to 5 at the back again, which maybe they won't now. I'm not sure. I think it could be here to stay for a while. But if they were to go with those two, just saying, when you get the ball, see what you can do, I still think that could be a dangerous option for us.
Yeah, I think you're right in that, but I do think we'll switch to a 5 at the back for games like Liverpool, where they've got a very pacey attack and an attack that could really harm us and expose the lack of cover that we would have if we only play 4 at the back. I think they were terrible on Sunday, but no disrespect to Arsenal. Yeah. Their attacking force at the minute is nowhere near the same as Liverpool or Manchester City. And I've been saying it for years that we need to be more dynamic in our approach to games. And Nuno says about how, we take each game as it comes, but they don't really, because we know that we've known for a long time that they're going to play 5 at the back. Yeah. And there'll be a slight variation in midfield or up front. But now there is genuine plan B. And we saw against Arsenal as well that we can revert back to 5 at the back within a game and try and secure things. Although I don't think it worked particularly well on Sunday. I think we really we invited a lot of pressure on, and we dropped very, very deep. But at Anfield, I'm assuming in front of a crowd. I'm not quite sure what's going on at the minute.
I'm refusing to comment because I can see it all changing anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think
So
whether
there
they're
could,
agreed now is really agreed.
yeah. So there could be a crowd, and it could be a very different game to what we would expect if it would be behind closed doors. Even if there's only 2,000 fans there, I think that could spur Liverpool on a little bit more. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he decides to do. But I would be surprised if he went for 4 at the back against Liverpool.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think it's nice to have seen these two games. 4 points from those two games I'd have definitely taken before we started. And the way we've adapted to formation, had some COVID issues and other things like this, and then the Jimenez injury, to come out of those two games with those points and the new formation that fans are, I think, quite excited about, and I'm one of those. I still think I would say 5 at the back this weekend, because firstly, that's where we've got the most players at the moment that are fit and ready. And secondly, we know it inside out. Liverpool, I think, at the moment have clearly got a bit of an injury problem and various other problems. However, what they haven't got is any injuries to the main men. Firmino, Salah, Mane, Jota, and even Origi, if you want to throw him in there.
Jota, a main man.
I know.
Come on now.
But for better or worse, those 4 or 5, a combination of 3 of them are undoubtedly going to play. It's whether they've got these 19-year-old centre-backs that could be what makes the game interesting. So if they have a similar situation to that lining up against us at the weekend, how do you think Wolves should attack that game, sort of style of play-wise?
Like you referred to earlier on, I think we should view it very much in the same way that we viewed the Man City away game last year. I think that Liverpool are not the team that they were last year, not just because of injuries, but I think the crowd has had such a massive impact at Anfield. I know that when we've gone as Wolves fans, I've always been very underwhelmed by the atmosphere, but it must do something for those games where it's tight and you've got the cop behind you trying to suck in the goal for the last 20 minutes or so. It 100% has an impact. And since the restart, Liverpool have been, I don't want to say ordinary because they're still in the top 2 in the table, but they've not been as ruthless as they were before. So I think they could be got at. Obviously, missing Van Dijk. And is it Joe Gomez as well? The other one they're missing as well at the back.
He certainly didn't play this weekend or last night, so I would think he's expected to be out.
So my plan would be to stay in the game for as long as possible, and then hit them in the last 20 minutes, because I think there's no team fitter than us in the last 20 minutes in games. And there's nobody who can deal with Traore in the last 20 minutes of games when they're really, really tired. We saw very, very similar to the Man City game last year when they had Fernandinho at the back, play really out of position and was fumbling all over the place when Traore ran at him in the last few minutes. So that would be what I would be aiming to do. But I wouldn't start Traore at the minute. I think he's been
That's going to be
really,
a question
really
I was going to
ordinary.
ask. Out of those 4 with Silva and Neto, good answer to a good question, yeah.
So I would probably go for 5 at the back. And like you said, I would play 2 up front, but it would have to be Neto and Podence, I think, at the minute. Because, although I think that might be a little bit lightweight, I think that's probably our best option. If you bring Traore on with 10, 15 minutes to go, he's more impactful than if you have him from the first whistle. I think he's been so ordinary. In particular, the last 10 minutes of the Arsenal game, you saw Neto really busting the guts to close the defenders down and make it difficult for them to play the ball out of the back. And then you had Traore standing still, watching the ball go past him. It was infuriating. Yeah. Whether that's because he's not fit enough to play 90 minutes at the level that he does, or because he's just bone idle, I don't know what it is. But I don't trust him to be on the pitch for 90 minutes against
I would, to interrupt there, sorry, with me and Traore, it's not in any way me being overly critical of him. I just have high expectations. And for me, I don't think he meets them. And I'm about to do a video on this, actually. So it's interesting you brought up, but as a preview for that. For me, Traore is not a sensible or smart footballer. Traore is someone who, when he has the ball, is very well drilled, and probably due to Nuno, of how and what he should be doing and how he does it. And he can be very effective. And without him this weekend, those 2 goals against Arsenal would not have occurred. He key pass after a smart turn for the second, and obviously the great running cross for the first. And that's what he can do. But like you say, when we lose the ball, he does nothing. When we're getting into the opposition box from the left side, he's nowhere near the box. If he wants to move forward and become someone who has more than 1 assist and no goals to his name or whatever it is at the moment, he has got to get himself in that position for me. And with his pace and size, and he's got a good leap. If you watch him, he wins a lot of flick-ons from Patricio's kicks as well. if he could get himself in those positions, just in and around the box, being a body, things will fall for him. And that's where, for me, he'd move on to the next level. Because there's no way Traore would have scored Neto or Pordence's goal this week if the ball came from the other side of the pitch. No way, because he's not been anywhere near that. And we might have sidetracked there a little bit, but that's exactly why I agree with you that he's the one who should be on the bench when we're playing just two of them. Because, yes, he's the best from the bench, but also he's the one who, I guess, against a team like Liverpool, will definitely offer the least without the ball. And I think he needs to work on that part of his game, really. But he's also dynamic and massive and an absolute handful. So
there's nobody in the league when he gets going. There's nobody, even in world football, who's like Traore. These stats on dribbling and beating players is second to none anywhere. But it's just not consistent. And if, like I've been saying on various different things, if you want to be a top 4 team, you need to have 11 players who you can guarantee are going to be 7.5 out of 10 every single week. Sometimes Traore is 10 out of 10, sometimes he's 4 out of 10. He's not as consistent as other players in the team, or at the level that we need him to be at.
No, I agree. So I think we're both in agreement that this is possibly the best time to get at Liverpool. Would you say? I think saying in the games, while that'll work, I think at the beginning, because it's the right thing to do, you're still at Anfield end of the day, it's still Liverpool. But I think if you're ever going to get at Liverpool, it's this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but Villa proved, I mean, I know it was a few weeks ago now, but Villa proved if you shoot, you can score.
Yeah.
I know that there was a few problems in that game as well. I know that it wasn't Alisson in goal, it was the other one. What's his name? Adrian. It was him. So you've just got to throw caution to the wind. Liverpool expect teams to give them loads of respect and give them loads of possession. There's no reason why we can't get in their faces and give them a lot to think about. They haven't lost at Anfield in the Premier League for about 1,000 years. But why can't we? We were one of the last teams to beat them. I know they lost the other day, didn't they, or last week? But there's no reason why we can't go and get another positive result there, or at least stop them from winning. I think. I don't think we should go there fearing Liverpool like we have done in the past. We've definitely got a soft underbelly this season.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think for me, it bodes to be an exciting game. I would expect goals probably at both ends. I think Wolves should be feeling as confident as had for a long time to score, and I think fans should be feeling the same. And then also, I think their defense is as weak as ever, and also their attack is as strong as it ever could be, and arguably is the best in the world. And I think we both agree Jota's also going to score, isn't he?
I mean, we've both been Wolves fans long enough to know that if a player leaves, they score against us. I mean, you can go back to the 90s, and Steve Claridge, I think, used to score against Wolves every single time after he left Wolves. So I do expect Jota to score.
Will he celebrate? Will he celebrate?
I don't know. I don't like that not celebrating. If you play for a team, if a team's paying your wages, if a Wolves player didn't celebrate because they'd play for the previous team, I'd be furious.
Would you
celebrate? Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about Jota. I don't understand all this softness from the Wolves fans going, "Oh, I'm so proud of him scoring for Liverpool." I don't give a monkeys.
Yeah.
He's against us now. The same as Doherty.
Yeah.
As soon as they've gone, he gave us lots of good memories, the pair of them. But they're not Wolves players anymore.
No.
They're direct competitors now, particularly Tottenham. Well, maybe not even Tottenham this year because they're at the top of the table. But they're competitors against us now. They want to win. We want to beat them. I've got no interest in how their careers go from now on.
Although you'll still definitely know, because I'm sure you've got mates blowing up your WhatsApp groups about Jota, haven't you? We've all got Liverpool friends.
Yeah.
I get.
Yeah. Although the Liverpool fans don't know how to spell his name. The friend of mine who's Liverpool fans put 2 T's in the whole time.
Oh, do they? I always get the E instead of the O though in the first name. I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. I've never heard of him. I don't know who you're on about. I think really, what would you stick your neck on a scoreline being in this game on Sunday?
Well, I don't often do predictions.
I know, I thought I'd your card.
You can only be wrong. The over 2.5 goals. Is that enough? Can I give you that?
Combined though, because it's nervous if it's one.
Combined.
Combined.
Yeah. So I think I'll stick my neck on the line. I think I can't see Wolves winning, to be honest. I mean, I would like us to go and win, but I'll go for a 1-1 draw probably.
Just 1-1. That's already ruined your over 2.5 bet though.
I know. Well, we're not going to score 2 though, are we either?
No, I think we might.
Or concede 2 because I don't think. I mean, defensively, I think we were pretty steady this season. We haven't, apart from the West Ham game where we were atrocious. We've been pretty. It's been 1s or 2s that we've conceded, or 0s, and it's been very much the other way. It's been 1s or 2s when we've scored. So there's not going to be a lot in it either way. I can't say it's been blown away at all. So yeah, 1-1. But I never predict Wolves to win because I think
No, I know it's a tough one.
I never predict us to lose either.
I think for me, I think it will be an end-to-end, very exciting 70 minutes. Maybe not the first 10, but beyond that, we'll say very exciting. I think in that time is where the goals for either team will be crucial. I reckon it'll be 2-2 at the end of 70 minutes, or maybe 75. But I could see a winner for someone. And I love it to be Wolves, but realistically, the way we sat back against Arsenal, if we got to 2-2 at Liverpool, or even a draw near the end, whatever the score, I think we would do the same, and then there'd only be one winner. So I'll say 2-2 because that's what I think I'd definitely come away with, and I can see that happening. However, if it's 3-2 to either, this will be a very interesting review on my channel, I hope. Whichever way it goes.
Absolutely.
Well, unless there's anything else you'd like to add, I'm delighted to have had you on today, and hopefully some people who are subscribing to you in your whatever platform will realise there's some good in this Wolves world. Maybe they'll be able to deal with my northern accent for a while and try and like and subscribe and follow the programme. But thank you very much for being on, and I really appreciate it, and best of luck in all that you're doing on your podcast and other things.
Thank you very much. Absolute pleasure to come on. Thank you very much for having me.
Cheers. So everyone, that was the discussion with Tom Rouse. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. It was a real privilege for a new channel like mine to have someone such as him on at this early stage in its life. Please don't forget to hit like, subscribe to this channel, check out the website wolvesworld.org, and hopefully I'll see you back here soon. Don't forget, comments below will be great. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.